Today I wanted to talk about and reach people in the manner of talking about keeping your standards during dating and relationships. This is something that I'm currently going through. It's something that a lot of my girlfriends are currently going through, and many people like I just have conversations with. This conversation has came up for me and particularly, and I wanted to share it with whoever this reaches, whatever woman needs to hear it, or even man, because men have standards and when they're dating too. Is I've been in the time period of dating, seeing what I like, seeing what I don't like, and I'm someone where I'm very into human psychology research, the human behavior, childhood, and since I've been in college and I studied and majored in psychology, it's always been very important to me to learn people and take that in relationships and dating and friendships and family, because it's all connected. There's always a pattern for the pattern of the type of men you date, the type of woman you date, why you attract certain people. And it's not because it's what you are, but it goes in sync to what you accept and what you're used to and what you've been conditioned into thinking that this is my type because this is what I'm comfortable with. And for me, I feel like a lot of people as grown adults, we automatically assume we know how to date. You know, if you're 20, if you're 30, if you're in your 40s, we automatically feel like I know how to date. I know my type. I know what I'm into. And I just want people to be comfortable enough to know, like, it's okay, because you may not know your type. You may know what you're used to attracting. And this is a pattern of what I've always been used to wanting to date. But that's not the healthy type or pattern for you. And me being a spiritual woman that I am into karmics, I am into soulmates, twin flames. I read into that on the spiritual level, and then I also just look into psychology level of, you know, just past patterns and behaviors, father wounds, mother wounds, and everything, right? So something for me of just incorporating all of it together, of just studying and what I'm just interested into, something for me, and just leaning towards God, because I've been in a place of going to God, of asking God, you know, for a husband, the type of man that's for me, and aligning me with the right man who is healthy for me. Not just someone I think he's attractive, he buys me things, he's tall, he is a businessman, but a man who God feels like would be in line for me. And I'm into scripting, so I've taken the time to script that, write it out. If I had to imagine the perfect man for me that God would align me with, what would he look like? How would he sound? How would he treat me? What were the type of dates that he would take me on? How would he speak to me? How would he cater to me, right? And I've been on the journey of, let me tell you, before God really takes you to that period of time of introducing you to your right person, to your partner, to your husband who is healthy, that's the key word, that is healthy for you, there's going to be a large wave of just healing. The message I got for myself that came from God, and I didn't understand it at the time, I got it 2 years ago, it was, good job on working on yourself. This journey is about learning you. When you only know you, you will be able to recognize him. And when I got that message, I didn't know what it meant. I was completely lost. I didn't know what it meant. I was confused. I'm like, when you know him, you'll recognize him. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, when you send the right man for me, he'll be in my face. So what do you mean by recognize him? And as time went on and I've learned myself, I learned to decipher the message, because I took the time to do my healing. I took the time to look within myself, and I learned that what God meant was, when you learn yourself and you know who you are, you know your worth, you know your standards, you will be able to recognize the man I send. And it's so funny because a lot of us will feel like when God sends a good man, oh, I see him, I'll know him. And it's so amazing because if you're unhealed, you will not recognize a good man if one is standing in front of your face. Because a lot of us mistake good men for corny, being boring. He's not as attractive. He's not fun. He's not exciting. When it's like, when you start to do the healing and knowing yourself, you learn that love is calming. Love is kind. Love is patient. Love takes a slow manner of time. It's not fast. It's not spiking. It's not this super exciting, rushing thing that's gonna go fast and we have sex and we went on this bomb ass date and I think I'm gonna marry him tomorrow. It's slow. It takes its time. Now, everybody does have their own pace, you know, but it takes its own time. And one thing for God has truly told me, like, relationship with the right man is going to be like your relationship with me. So literally, I have been in this turmoil of time of learning to have a relationship with God, and it can be annoying. I'm not gonna lie. I literally have my times where I'm like, God, I'm annoyed, I'm tired, you telling me do this, I'm not in the mood. And at first I didn't understand it, but that even showed with me where when you meet a good man, there's gonna be times and points where he may want you to do something or stop you from doing something, not because he's just being hard and he's being rude, but because he wants the best for you. You know, and it's almost literally like a father. A father will stop his daughter from doing and going certain places, not just to be mean and ridicule you, but because he cares about his daughter. And it's the same way with God. God will stop you from going places and doing things. And same thing for when you get a husband or you get a man that genuinely cares about you. There's certain things he's going to stop you from doing, you know? And also there's being patient. You know, God will teach you to be patient and wait. But something overall where I said going into being able to recognize, it's so many levels of healing that you start to do, like nervous system healing. That is something I'm working on, where I'm learning, how does someone who's calming and loving towards me, how does that feel with me? Because a man who's for me is not going to make me anxious and make me feel like, what's he doing? What's going on? He's going to make me feel secure. I shouldn't have to wonder what you're doing, where you're going, how he speaks to me. I shouldn't be anxious to tell him what's wrong. And I should feel comfortable to emotionally express myself. I should be able to be emotionally comfortable to cry. I should be comfortable to express my boundaries. I don't like this. I don't want to do this. I'm not okay with this. And that's something that I'm learning with a lot of women. We won't be comfortable having sex. We won't be comfortable going certain places. And we will still bend on our boundaries because we're like, well, it's not that serious. It's not that deep. It's very freaking serious. It's very deep. It's very damn deep. If you don't like this, if it doesn't make you feel good, that man who is for you is going to respect it. Even if it's something he likes to do, if it genuinely makes you uncomfortable, if it's something where I don't like this or I'm not into this, he will listen to you. Because even if he doesn't agree, you can agree to disagree. He's still going to listen to what you have to say. And also something for me where I'm learning is I have taken the time to list out and write out what my type of man, what he would be like, how he would treat me, what are the type of things that he would do. I literally write it and script it and manifest it like it's a whole story time, you know, like today my husband woke up and did this and that. And then also taking the time to write your standards. What are your standards? What are your standards of what you want your man to be like? And then what are your absolutely no-nos? I don't want a man like this. I don't want a man that does this. I had taken the time to write my no-nos. A no for me is I don't want a man who is married, obviously, a man who is separated, obviously, because you are still attached to another woman. And some women, we will bend on, well, he's separated, so they're not together. He's still with that woman. She still has an entitlement. If he's not divorced, he's with another woman. Another absolute no-no for me. I don't want to date a man who has kids. There's nothing wrong with a man that has kids, but for me and particularly, I do not want to date a man who has kids. Why? Because I do not have kids. And as a man who has children, as a woman who has children, you have responsibilities. You have to be present for your child. You have to be in communication with the other parent because you are now sharing custody with this child. And I have a right to also say that I do not want to date someone who is obligated to their ex-partner. And that's where this really came up for me because, confirmation. It came up for me because as women, we bend on our standards. We bend on our boundaries. We bend on our no-nos. We have our 10 things, and if this man has 7 out of 10, we'll bend. No. And I truly feel like this is where I had this revelation last night, and I feel like God really wants me to put it out there of when you want what you want, do not bend on it at all. If you say, I want a man who makes good money and he is financially stable, I want a man with no kids, I want a man who is emotionally available, I want a man who is healed past all his past betrayals and heartbreaks and has no affiliation with his ex, stand on it 100%. Do not bend because, oh, well, he's financially stable, he has no kids, but he is still like a little bit heartbroken about his ex, and he brought it up the first time, but he said he's over it, but he does talk about her. No, guess what? He's not for you. My new motto has literally been, if I wrote this down and I told God what I wanted and he's not it, guess what? You're not the man God sent for me. You're not. And it's funny because God will test you. God will test you. The devil will test you and send in nice things. There will be men who will spend hella money on you, take you out, okay? And it'll be tempting. You have somebody who spent $15,000 on you for your birthday, but maybe he's separated from his wife. I mean, he's not with his wife, but he's connected to her. It can be tempted like, oh, well, no, that's not your man, baby. Is that what you wrote in your book? That's not your man. A man who he's financially stable, he's sweet, he's kind, he takes you out, but he has kids and you don't have kids. And one of your requirement and standard was, I don't want a man with kids. I'm gonna bend on it a little bit. No, your book that you wrote in your standard was, I do not want a man with children because I do not have children. Stand on your standards. Have enough confidence and love and standard and heart within yourself of betting on yourself, of locking in with God and saying, I'm not about to settle, because I wrote in my book and I know what I'm manifesting in my book. And I wrote and manifested many times, and each day I'm learning and adding more and taking away and tweaking a little bit more, and God's showing me like, all right, you want financially stable? All right, cool. Financially stable. Still heartbroken over his ex. Tweaked it a little bit. All right, financially stable. He's healed from his past. All right, cool. God said, all right, cool. Send another one. This one has kids. Okay, no. I don't want a man who has kids. Okay? So literally, it's like, there's a reason why when you're manifesting, when you're praying, when you're asking for things, God is saying, be specific. Be specific, because I can send you something that you asked for, but when you're asking for something in particular, be specific. And there's also the key, and the trick is, when you're asking for something, know why you're asking for this, and know, okay, how is this package going to come into play? And I also believe in also matching that package. You can't ask for a man to be healed from his past exes if you're still heartbroken about yours. Because just like how God is not trying to send you no messed up man, he's not trying to send his son no messed up woman either, who's about to still be talking and use him to flex on her ex. No. So this is where I always take the self accountability to look at myself and look at what I have and look at myself as a woman and say, okay, how am I presenting myself? And if I know I have a lot of things in order, there's also a certain type of way that I expect a man to come to me in that order. And I'm not about to bend. I'm not about to wiggle it and make it fit. If I ask for a square, I'm not accepting an octagon. 4 sides. I'm not accepting all them sides. That's too much. No. And I used to feel like, oh, it's so bitchy to, judge, and, you don't know their situation. Their situation is not your business. Your business is your business. When you decide to, okay, I'm going to date this person, you are now deciding to take on someone else's responsibilities and their baggage, right? Because that's now the person you're deciding to date, to spend your time with, and their time is y'all time, and no. Stand on your standards. Stand on your boundaries. Stand on what you want and what you do not want. Do not bend, do not tweak, do not guilt trip yourself to feel like, oh, dude, does this sound bad? I feel like I'm being bitch. No, I don't give a damn if 5 other your friends are dating men who have kids, and one's dating somebody else who's separated from his wife, and another one's dating someone in jail. No, if you have your stuff to a T, where you're like, I want a man who's like this, and this, and everything else is easy to come across, do not bend. Because if what you're looking for is not easy to come across, just know you have to be a little bit more patient. And being patient brings you amazing and beautiful things. But when you just settle is easy to come with responsibilities and baggage that's not even yours. Don't let people with small mindsets make you bend, because there will be people who will tell you, that's so rare. A lot of men these days have kids. A lot of men, they're not spiritually in tune. A lot of men are not going to church. A lot of men are not talking to God like that. A lot of men, they're not disciplined, and a lot of men need sex, and that woman talk to every man in the world. No, they don't. And a lot of men who care about their time, who don't play about their money, who don't play about their self, their mindset, their healing, they're not chitting and chatting with everybody in the world. They're not going to always be out in the club and in the scenery. No. So just like how if you are rare, know that also that rare man is also being hidden, and nobody else but God and the universe is going to bring y'all together. But just because it may be something that's rare, do not believe that it's impossible. But one thing for sure of that is, do not sit there and settle and feel like, I'm never going to meet anybody like this. Because just like how you may be a rare woman, there is a man out there who is praying for a rare woman because he is a rare man. And I have literally met different rare men. Not that I was supposed to be with, but I have seen rare men. Men who go to church. Men who want to pour into women. Men who want babies and they want to be husbands. Men who they're loyal to a T, and they would never sit there and ever do anything to hurt a woman ever, because their heart is set on love. There are men who are literally out there like that. You literally just have to, 1, do the healing. 2, stand up, bird, airplane, something's coming, 222, okay. Confirmation. 1, do the healing. 2, set your standards. Know your standards. Know your no-nos. Do not bend on them at all. And 3, knowing and being able to recognize what this man is like. That's the key. Because if God decided today, I'm going to send you a good man, would you be able to recognize him? Or would you think that he's corny and he's boring and he doesn't look exciting and, you know, because he's not your regular type? So that's the key also, is recognizing. And that's where when you start to heal and you start to look within yourself of knowing these are my past patterns and these were not good men that I was attracted to, and you shift that mindset and you do the work, you'll notice that there's a different branch of men that you may have never seen before because you were not able to recognize them. And it might not even be your husband, but it may be a man that God just wants to allow you to experience genuine love, courtship, dating, trips, traveling, flowers, a good man just for the experience.